Hello, boys. Oh, whoa, whoa. Hello, my boy. All right, morning everyone. So quick question. Have you ever been in a room full of people where you can visually see that one person is making other people agitated and irritated, and they just continue to do so, although everyone in the room can see this except them? And this is called body language. It's the unspoken language, guys, and it's so obvious to those who can see it, but to those who can't, it's not so obvious. And I think modern humans have dumbed it down, so we've lost this ability to look visually at someone and understand what they're trying to tell us. And that is a language I'm going to be talking about today when it comes to lions. Everyone knows lions as these animals that roar, but not many people actually know the secret world of lions, the unspoken language. And that's what I want to talk about today. Taking George and Yame out for a walk. Two very vocal lions, but also two lions that are very good at showing you all these little hints and gestures. Right, so just catching up with George and Yame. So, guys, as you all know, lions live in social groups, and if you're living in a social group, it means you've got to have the ability to communicate. You've got to have the ability to know who's who in the zoo. And there'll come times when actually, putting a voice behind a thought is not the smartest thing to do. So sometimes visual cues or behavioral cues are exceptionally important when it comes to clear communication. Oh. Okay, so interestingly enough, scientific studies have shown that the more social the animal is, obviously the greater the intelligence is supposedly meant to be. That bump there is a perfect example of a behavioral cue. That's just a reaffirmation of a bond that Yame is showing toward me, a fellow male in his group. So just getting back to social intelligence. So studies have shown that animals that live in groups need to be that much more intelligent. The reason being is they need to understand a lot more about what's going on with social dynamics. So in other words, in a social group, you need to know who's who in the zoo. You need to know who's the boss. You need to know who your mates, who your friends, who are going to do you favors, who aren't going to do you favors. So, yeah, that takes understanding and intelligence. Hello, big boy. Ow. First part of the walk obviously entails rolling around and poo sniffing. So guys, I got asked a question the other day, and it was a good question. The question was, why would lions roar so much? They heard the lions roaring at night, and they were like, but why would they roar so much, Kevin? They're going to give away their position. Other lions are going to know where they are. You know, it's problematic. And just while these two have a little love session. So vocal communication is really, really important, obviously because male lions like George and Yame would want other male lions to know where they are. They would deliberately roar to say, hey, this is our territory. We don't want you coming in here. If you do come in here, there's going to be trouble. So, yeah, rather stay away. And that's what the other lions can pick up from the roaring. So this is a bit of behavioral silent gestures mixed with some vocalizations. A very friendly whoa, whoa, whoa. And Yame is a vocal cat, so is George. Going to try and get this on this show on the road. So yeah, so if you think about those roars, those are vocalizations that these lions are deliberately doing because they want the other lions to know where they are, and or their peers, their pride members. So sometimes we have what's called contact roaring. So you will see lionesses or lions just giving off these different kind of roars, and that's really just to let the other group of lions know where they are, so they can, you know, get back in contact. And then there's obviously the territorial roars, which are the ones that we all know. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. Don't come here. If you come here, you're going to get beaten up. But by and large, for lions, it doesn't make sense to be shouting the odds all day long. In fact, that's just going to be to their detriment, because if you think about it, they stealth. They opportunistic, and they hunt by stealth. So they will obviously stalk their prey and then try and surprise it, or sometimes, you know, outrun it. But the name of the game is really keeping quiet. You know, you don't want to be trundling through the bush, letting everyone know that you're on your way. Give them ample warning to run away. That's not what you want. So if you're a lion, you want to remain pretty quiet, and you want to have that element of surprise. So what George is doing here is communicating. Okay, so that was a form of communication. He is talking to me as well vocally. Ooh, that's a friendly, oh, that was a curve. Hello, boy. Oh. But what he was doing there was rubbing his scent on this tree, and that is a form of communication. It's chemical communication. The next lion that comes along and smells his scent, if he was in the wild or even here, is going to know that there was another lion here, male lion. That was quiet communication. So he wasn't making any noise, just rubbing up on the tree. So if you look at a lion pride, a lot of the time they're actually communicating without vocalization. And that's when we talk about all of their little behavioral cues. That's what I want to really get into today. So the little facial expressions, the ears, the eyes, the mouth, they have so many different muscles in the face that they can pull multiple different kinds of faces, and there's a reason for that. Whereas if you look at many of the herbivores, they don't have that musculature, so they cannot really express or communicate with each other visually via the face movements or muscles. And then all the other things that they do with their bodies, their ears, just looking at George, his tail, Cats, as we all know, are very able to move their tails in different directions, twitching their tails. It can show a multitude of things, from irritation to curiosity to excitement to greeting. These are all just visual cues from the tail. And then obviously all the other affectionate things that they do within the pride, like head bumping, rubbing, licking, just touching. So these are the things that show affection. And so if you look at how humans show affection, guys, we do it. We say, I love you. But how do we show our love for somebody? We hug, we kiss, we touch. We do all of those things that these lions do too. So more than often, lions are silent, they're quiet, they move around the bush without speaking, but that doesn't mean they're not communicating. So they're communicating with each other all the time. And I find it very interesting because a lot of people will come across a group of lions in the wild and they will just, see these individuals sitting there, and they won't take the time to look at the subtle cues that the female's giving towards the male, or she's telling him off. He's indicating he wants to, okay, there's obviously also the chemical cues when it comes to things like estrus. Very complicated, but certainly together with that chemical cue, there is also then the visual cue. So he is wanting to get lucky, and she is just giving him a little bit of a flare of the lip, and that he picks up loud and clear. And he knows often if he tries his luck, he's going to land himself in hot water. Obviously, when a female is in full-blown estrus, then a male lion really can't help himself, and he will even take his chances. So yeah, these are all the subtleties within the dynamics of the pride. But if you watch a pride long enough, you'll see a mother's affection towards her cubs. You'll see cubs playing with each other, and just the signs that they give each other as their intentions, what they're intending on doing. Yame over here is an incredible cat, and I often say I would rather be working with a lion that's slightly more feisty, like Yame. I'd rather be working with a lion like that, who shows me his intentions and his moods, than a cat who plays poker face all the time. And it's almost impossible to read the body language. Now, I've had lions like that I've worked with, and you continually second guess yourself, because what you're trying to see with a lion. So this is giving some information into my world. Working with George and Yame, they're coming on 12, so 12 years now. And there'll be times when you'll see Yame, his face stiffen or tighten up. His face gets tight, and then his eyes go slitty, his ears get pulled back, and his whole body stiffens up. And then okay, Yame is pissed off with you or with something, okay? And you just need to, doesn't mean he's going to come and annihilate you, but what it does mean is you need to be wary, you need to be cautious, and you need to be alert, okay? But often Yame will do that because he is curious about something. So he's interested in something. But even there now, I missed it. But I'll show you when he's marking his territory. This lion has just the most incredible facial expressions. George, yes, he does, but not as much as Yame. Yame is one of the most expressive lions that I've ever worked with. Just look at his face. Look at the eyes. Okay, so obviously I'm listening out for audible cues from the lions. What are they saying to me audibly? But more than that, I am looking at the lions for visual cues. And I think that's what I'm trying to say to you guys today, is that the visual cues are far more important in many respects than the audible cues, because this lion, Yame and George, will start to talk to me visually long before they start to talk to me audibly. So many times when, say, Yame is getting irritated, I'm on a walk like this, talking to you guys, talking to the camera. I'm walking behind Yame. He's trying to listen as to what's going on in the environment. He gets pissed off. He starts to show me visual cues. Yeah. Yum. Go this way. Yeah. Yeah. Yummy. Yeah. Hello, bulldozer. Yummy. Yum. Yeah. Go through here. There we go. Good boy. That's it. Somebody's not wanting to get his paws wet. Me neither, Yum. George doesn't care. Sorry, excuse the shadows. Oh, muddy. Oh, look at those muddy paws. Okay, so it's very often that the visual cues would have been coming long before the audible cue. So, for example, as I was saying earlier, before we crossed that muddy swamp, so he would have been showing me visual cues like a tail flicking. His ears would have been pulled back, maybe his face would have been a bit taut. And I can see visually he's getting irritated by me talking all the time. I ignore those visual cues, carry on, and eventually he growls at me. There's the audible cue. Came long time after the visual cues, but yeah, I chose to ignore them. And that, my friends, is what happens with so many animals. The animals gradually getting peed off. And guys, that happens with humans. So in my example earlier, I was saying there's a person and they are talking and they are carrying on and they are dominating the conversation, and everyone else is visually getting agitated and irritated, but the person talking doesn't see that. And then eventually either somebody loses their cool and says, you know what, you talk too much, and really gets, it gets abusive. Or somebody just gets up and says, I need the toilet, or I'm going to go and get a drink. It changes the conversation. So I'm sure you all know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you've all been there he goes, he's seen an impala through the fence. Oh, pity boy, it's a pity. Okay, I don't know if I was on him, but his body language changed. It was just from this happy-go-lucky, comfortable, calm cat to this like lion in stealth mode or in predatory mode. His whole body language, his whole demeanor changed. You can see it a mile away. And then he's there by the fence with no reward, because the impala are smart enough to run away even though they understand that there's a fence. Sorry, boy.